Hi everybody, Tarryn here from Generation Health. Today we're going to be covering the topic of vitamins and minerals. So we're looking at your micronutrition. So far we've taken a look at the liver, we've gone through exercise, and we started to look at our macronutrients, which was your protein. The following week after this, we're going to address fats, and then we're going to look at carbohydrates. So fats, protein, and carbohydrates we call your macros. But micronutrition are your vitamins and minerals, and so that's what we're going to be addressing today. So the first thing that we want to have a look at when it comes to vitamins and minerals is what is the optimal amount of servings that we should be having in terms of your fruits and veg. Now, do you remember the campaign that was done with 5+ a day? It was done for the longest time, and over half of the amount of Kiwis didn't even get their 5 servings of fruit and veg. So of that 5, 3 should be vegetables and 2 should be fruit, with a maximum of 3 servings of fruit a day because of the sugar content. So what we really want to be focusing on is the vegetable servings. When we look at that 5+ a day, that campaign that happened, we were not looking at optimal at all. We were really looking at the minimum amount that you would need to not be nutrient or too nutrient deficient. Okay, so when we look at the optimal servings of fruit and veggie servings, that campaign has now been changed. It got changed this year, and it got changed to 7 servings of fruits and veg, 7 to 8. What we're looking at in terms of vegetables is optimally 7 servings of veg. Okay, so that's 7 servings of veg in a day, and a maximum of 2 servings of fruit. So we know that it can be quite challenging to get that amount of fruits and vegetables in a day, but at a minimum you want to be having at least 5 at a minimum. Okay, now I know that you are that most of you will be doing the transform, and so encompassed in your vitamins and minerals you'll be getting from the shake that you're having, but you should also be having servings of vegetables in your meal that you are preparing, and potentially in your snacks that you are preparing as well. As you move closer into eating more whole foods, that's when you want to be looking at the vegetable servings more closely. So one of the concepts that I want to go through today with you is free radicals. Okay, so when we look at micronutrition, we're looking at how it combats free radical damage. So the easiest way for me to explain what a free radical does is it's this molecule that races around your body and it smashes into your cells. And that's a problem because everything we're made up of is cells. We are trillions and trillions of cells. And so what we want to make sure is that there's not an overabundance of free radical damage happening. Now, we can't avoid it completely because that would stop the effect of aging, but we can heavily reduce it. So as an example, if you took a look at 2 old people, 2 old ladies for an example, and one looked really old and decrepit, potentially she was a smoker, and then you look at the other one who is the exact same age, but she looks healthy and vibrant, and she has vitality. Now, although they're their exact same age, one was exposed to more free radical damage than the other. So when we look at what causes free radical damage, the top things that contribute to it are poor food choices. So of that, one of the main ones I look at is sugar. The next one is stress, and I would say that those are the top 2. We also look at polluted air, too much radiation from the sun, especially New Zealand sun being a real harsh sun. Also smoking, chemicals in the water, chemicals in our food. Basically anything that is bad or harmful to you will create free radical damage. So the best way for me to explain how this looks visually, and I've drawn it on the board, this is what a free radical would look like. So what we notice about the free radical is that these electrons here are all paired. So notice how they come in 2s. Now the problem is that when this free radical loses one, okay, so an electron goes missing, that's when the free radical becomes harmful, and it goes zooming around the body, smashing into cells. And when we have an abundance of these free radicals with lost electrons caused from stress, smoking, poor food choices, etc., we have an over and abundance of these zooming around, smashing into your cells. So what we look at in terms of what reduces the amount of free radical damage, not only by reducing the things that cause it, but also the things that neutralize it, so fruits and vegetables. In our fruits and vegetables, we have antioxidants. Now, antioxidants are just one example of what comes in a fruit and veg to combat free radical damage. And you'll notice that unlike the free radical, these are not paired. Okay? So the antioxidant has many spare electrons. And so when it comes into contact with a free radical that has lost one, it just simply donates one over, which neutralizes that free radical effect. So how we would have experienced that day to day is like if you had eaten an apple, and when the apple is open and exposed to oxygen, it starts to brown, and that is the oxygen attacking the cells of the apple, which is free radical damage. And then if you were to squeeze lemon juice over the apple, then it would slow down that browning process significantly, and that is because of the vitamin C in the lemon juice. So that's just one example of cellular protection. So when we look at the quality of our fruits and vegetables today, that is a problem. Each different country, yes, notably is different, but when we look at New Zealand, the issue with our soil is that we're very nutrient deficient. We have no iodine and no selenium, just two examples. Also really low in vitamin D. And these are just a few examples of extreme deficiency in those minerals. When we look at not just the fact that we are on volcanic soil, although we're a clean green country, our soil is volcanic, when we look past that and just look at the condition of our foods, every time a food is processed, is hydrogenated, has any form of freeze drying or any kind of extraction process or any kind of storage or shipping process that happens, we lose the amount of nutrient quality in that food. And so that's where we look to a multivitamin to top up what we are missing. When we know how much that micronutrients actually do for you, we know that we definitely don't want to be deficient of any of them, especially because everything that we're made up of is cells. So the issue when it comes to looking to a multivitamin as a solution is what is the quality of vitamin supplements today. And so there we take a look at the manufacturing standards. Now there are two standards of manufacturing. The two of them are pharmaceutical grade, and the second one is food grade. Now, psychologically, because we are a pill-popping nation, pill-popping world, and that everything can be solved with a pill type thinking, we assume that when we take a vitamin which comes in the form of a pill, that it is the same as taking a drug, and it is absolutely not. Because a vitamin is considered a food and not a drug, it does not need to meet the same manufacturing standards as a drug, okay? So as an example, when you look at a pharmaceutical drug, every little ingredient that it says is in it, 100% must be in that bottle, must be in every single pill. And the manufacturing standard that is pharmaceutical quality. However, when a vitamin is produced to food grade standard, then legally the requirement is that only 10% of what is on the label is required to be in it, which is significantly different than a pharmaceutical grade vitamin. So the only one really worth taking is one of pharmaceutical quality. And so I want to just give you a basic criteria to be able to see the three things. And there are many, but we'll just look at three simple things that set aside pharmaceutical quality of manufacturing as opposed to food standard. The first one we'll look at is potency. So when it comes to potency, what that means is there needs to be a guarantee that everything that is listed on the label is in there 100%. Now you won't see pharmaceutical grade on the label. You'll see meets GMP standards. You might see FDA approved. You might see that it meets British Pharmacopoeia standard, which is the highest standard that a a drug or a vitamin can be manufactured too. And USANA meets all three. The next thing we look at is purity. So there must be a guarantee that there is purity of ingredients. Because when we were looking at taking our supplements, our vitamins, we want to be taking them in its purest form without having to worry about any contaminants such as herbicides, pesticides, especially in high doses. And we certainly don't want to be having to worry about that in a fish oil. We don't want to have to be concerned at all about mercury poisoning. When I go into fats next week, it'll give you a glimpse of just how important fats are, and the risk with taking vitamin supplements that don't have a purity guarantee is that you could also be doing harm to yourself as well. So after purity, the last one that we'll look at is dissolution. So dissolution seems like a pretty obvious one, but you'd be surprised. Dissolution means that it must break down within 30 minutes, so you must actually be able to absorb it. Completely pointless if it meets the other two, but your body can't utilize it. And so dissolution is super important. So those are the three things that I wanted to cover in terms of what covers pharmaceutical grade. We also wanted to let you know that this was the reason why we chose to promote USANA supplements to our clients. We only want to give you guys the best, as we're just as invested in your health as we are in ours. So have an awesome week. Keep on posting, keep on doing awesome things with your health, and we just want to congratulate you again and see you next week. Bye.